Do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Would you like for me to take the roll?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Brennan? Mr. Fergus?
Yes, present.
Ms. Bleaton?
Present.
Ms. Herbert? Present. Representative Howard? Mr. Lawson? Ms. Mood?
Here.
Dr. Morris? Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Teresa?
Here.
Mr. Overture Walker? I'll begin the advisory members. Mr. Kane? Mr. Green?
I'm here.
Mr. Jenkins?
Here.
Mr. Coon? Ms. Robinson? Ms. Summers? Mr. Unthank? And Mayor Barry Walker. Okay.
Thank you so much. So that brings us to item 2, the adoption of our agenda. It's pages 1 and 2 in our packet. Is there a motion regarding the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you. Any items for addition, deletion, or changes? Or any discussion regarding the agenda? All right, hearing and seeing none. And I'll ask Ms.
Madam
Bano
Chair.
Reed if you'll help me just a moment.
Madam Chair.
Help me. Yes, just a moment.
Madam Chair.
Yes, just a moment, sir. I'm going to ask Ms. Bano Reed if she'll help me to monitor for hands that are raised
Yes, ma'am.
because I won't be able to see them as well. Okay, thank you. You're recognized regarding the agenda.
I noticed, the question I want to have, we gonna have Pam Baker here, Coble,
She's on the line. She's,
She is on the
yeah,
line.
Ms. Baker is here.
I'm here.
Thank you. And let's keep our questions and comments related to the items at hand. So we are-
Madam Chair, that is
Uh-huh.
an executive session. So I was asked,
Okay.
I don't see that person here.
Okay,
So that
thank
is-
you.
Will the executive director be here today?
He is supposed to be calling in.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
let me
It's Dr.
share
Morris.
with you that the executive director has an emergency. He may or may not be on the phone this morning.
okay,
And I just want all board members to know that, this is an emergency, that if he's on the phone, we don't expect for him to stay long.
okay, thank you. And I hope that everything is okay with our executive director. And we'll keep our thoughts with him if there's any reason to do so. All right, so can we vote on the adoption of the agenda?
Yes, I will call the roll. Mr. Brennan? Mr. Fergus?
Yes.
Ms. Bleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Herbert? Yes. Representative Howard? Mr. Lawson? Ms. Mood?
Here. Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Teresa?
Yes.
Mr. Overture Walker? Motion carries.
Thank you. That brings us to item 3, our Midlands Transit Riders Association update. Do we have Mr. Gossett or Mr. Durst on the line?
Mr.
Yes.
Durst is here.
Okay, great. Mr. Durst, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. I want to relate a couple incidences that happened on the 801 over a period of about the last 2 weeks. First was 2 weeks ago on Sunday, there was a woman from New York visiting Columbia and her family. I happened to be on the bus at the time. She told me that she had a car, but that option was too expensive. So she opted for public transportation. She wanted to go to a restaurant to see her family. She didn't know where the restaurant was, but she just knew that it was on Broad River Road. She asked the driver, but he didn't know where it was either. A rider that was on the bus told the driver where it was, but the driver didn't know, or the rider didn't know the stop. But I happen to know the stop, and we took care of getting her there. The second incident happened Tuesday a week ago, where a school child needed to get to St. Andrews Middle School because he had missed his school bus. The child had never ridden a city bus by himself, and he was scared. A friend called me to ask what stop the child needed. I told him the Murphy Express stop. The child told that to the driver, but the driver said he didn't know which stop it was. My friend explained it was on the corner of Bush and Broad River Roads. And then the driver said, "Oh, I know where that is." So if the Comet is going to market routes to tourists or just to people in general, the drivers need to know where places are on their routes, as well as other places for riders. Now, I don't know if this was, I know this was two different drivers. I know it was the same route 801, but, and I don't know whether drivers have tunnel vision, so they don't really pay attention to what's going on around them. But we really feel like there needs to be some education with the drivers as to what locations are along their routes. Thank you.
I have some feedback on that, please.
Thank you for that, that story. Thank you for sharing that. It's always
Madam Chairman,
good to hear real life stories. Ms. Moody?
I just want to comment on part of the positive aspect of Walter's story is how people who ride the bus together help each other. And I like that part of the story.
Great. It's a Comet community. I really appreciate that too.
Madam
Let's
Chair,
move.
Madam Chair.
Uh-huh.
Ms.
Yes.
Gleason has a comment.
Okay, Ms. Gleaton.
Yes, I have a comment on that because I'm on the bus all the time and there are people, I ride the bus just periodically, just really to ride it. And I ride different ones, different routes, because I want to know what's going on in the city of Columbia. And there are people get on there that they have no knowledge. And public transportation, when you travel, I travel all over the world all the time. That's the first thing you see is public transportation out there around your hotels and things. And when people get on there and they say, well, I'm just new in the city and I don't know where to go or what to start. There was a homeless guy. I just have to bring it down like it was. He was so, and I knew something was wrong. He got on the bus, but he didn't know where he was going. And he needed a family shelter up there on Tenach Road, where I live off of Tenach Road. And so when he said where he was going, he said, ma'am, I have no earthly idea. I said, well, you stay on here. I'm gonna get off right at that stop. I will take you there to meet the lady that's in charge. And that's what I did. And I do that all the time because you never know when you're traveling anywhere, you're somewhere you don't know where you are. It's good for people to help each other. And some people are so selfish and don't want to do that. And that's I just had to get that on my chest because it happens all the time.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know if I was on mute. Thanks everybody for sharing that. This is what it's all about, people. Let's move to item 4, the call to the public. Are there any individuals who wish to address the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have Mr. Javar Juarez, who is the Executive Director of the Broad River Business Alliance.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Juarez, you all have 2 minutes. And could I get, Ms. Bino Reed, could I get you to time the 2 minutes out for me?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Juarez, thank you for
Hello,
joining us.
everyone. Oh, what a great day it is. I am so pleased to come to Comet today to just pour out some love on all of you all. I'm so pleased with everything that has happened in our community, and I really do feel very adamant that our community is headed in the right direction. I praise God for it because everybody is excited and revved up and they're starting to see how everybody is working together. And I'm so happy about it. And I just wanted to say to comment to all of the directors, the public, to all of the board members, everyone, thank you for your support for the Broad River Community Prayer March and Expo. It was a huge success. We had over 200 participants show up. 110 people marched with us from Lucius Road, including Tina Herbert. We appreciate you so much, City Councilwoman, for doing that. And we do have a different set of awards that'll be going for County Council and for City. So if we missed anybody today, we do apologize. I brought just a few awards, but we're gonna go into other chambers and do our little thing. But today we just wanted to say to comment, thank you. And so we have just a couple of awards. The first one is the Service Award presented to Central Midlands Regional Transit Authority on behalf of the Broad River Business Alliance and Service Coordinator Aubrey McKenzie. This certificate is awarded to the comment for outstanding community service as a result of your sponsorship and hosting the Broad River Community Prayer March and Expo. We also have an award too for our Community Ambassador Award. This is presented to, and I'll give this to Ms. Pam. Alice is not here. This is for the comment. And then to Ms. Pamela Lionel Reed, on behalf of the Broad River Business Alliance Community Development Corporation, we bestow this Community Ambassador Award on Ms. Pamela for your contribution and excellent service in support of the march. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, and I share this with my entire team.
Thank you,
We
thank you.
appreciate
We
you.
couldn't have done it without you. And one of our President's Awards to Ms. Allison Terracio. On behalf of the Broad River Business Alliance Community Development Corporation, this certificate is awarded to the board chair of the comment for your financial contribution and sponsorship of the Broad River Community Prayer March and Expo. This march was a march to end gun violence and a march to save lives. So I'll give this also to Ms. Reed. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there to receive it in person.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
All right, yes, could not be more timely. I see the comment about the folks in Texas, and we certainly do think about them. We'll move on to item 5, our consent calendar. That consists of items A, I think it's, oh, okay. So A and B, the approval of the April 27th board minutes and the approval of the invoice payment selection listing ending May 30th, 2022. Item B1, 5B1 is the draft payables. Those can be found on pages 3 through 8 and page 9 of our packet. Is there a motion regarding the consent calendar?
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion regarding our consent calendar?
Madam Chair, may I request that we actually pull out the minutes for a clarification?
Yes, we can do that. Anything further?
That's it.
Okay.
So if-
Hearing-
I guess if when you accept that as an amendment to the motion.
Right, so we'll vote on, essentially we'll vote on item 5B, and then we'll go back to the minutes. All right, so Ms. Bynum Reed, will you call the roll for essentially 5B?
Okay, Mr. Brennan? Mr. Burgess? Ms. Gleason?
Yes.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Representative Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson? Ms. Mood?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Tracio?
Yes,
Mr. Overton Walker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. So we'll return back to 5A, the board minutes from April 27th. Mr. Smith.
I'll make a motion that we adopt it with one correction, and it's the motion in 6C that has to do with adopting the fare free proposal.
Okay.
The minutes don't make it clear that I accepted Mr. Burgess's recommendation to change that initial motion. So I just want to make sure that that gets accurately recorded in the minutes, that it wasn't, it looks to me like I didn't accept it and that we moved forward without accepting his recommendation, and we did accept it.
Okay.
So just want-
Can we make, great. Any further comments or adjustments to the minutes from the board? I don't see anything online, anything in the room. Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will vote on the minutes as with that correction.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. Burgess?
Yes.
Ms. Gleason?
Yes.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Representative Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson? Ms. Mood?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Gracio?
Yes,
Mr. Overton Walker?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
and I'll just take this moment to thank Mr. Burgess for stepping in during that last meeting when I needed to leave all of a sudden. So I really appreciate that service. All right, let's move to item 6, our discussion and action items. 6A is the fiscal year 22-23 operations and capital budget. Ms. Andrews.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize, but the budget was left out of the original submission to you guys. And the pages, just to make a correction, the draft payables is actually pages 9 through 17. So where you have pages 10 through 17 for the operations budget, it is not there. So I spoke with Andy and our interim executive director Leroy. So what the plan is now is to postpone this to take place in place of the finance committee meeting on June 8th. So we'll do a special call June 8th, so we can give you guys time to look over the budget and what we submitted, and we'll move from there. Is that good, Andy?
Ms. Andrew, you said special call meeting? That's a
Yeah.
regular meeting, June 8th.
Well, it'll be instead of, well, it'll be regular, but instead of doing the finance, we'll have the board meeting, a special call board meeting.
Oh,
Did I
okay.
say that
All right.
correctly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And,
you.
and Dr. Morris, that was sort of at my recommendation, just
Okay.
just for clarity. We discovered this kind of late. It was this morning, actually, when I talked to Roz, and I recommended that we take our finance committee time in 2 weeks and do a special call board meeting to just consider the budget. And I will say that finance committee had no concerns about the budget. We discussed it thoroughly and everything. But we felt like the full board needed to see it for longer than a few hours before voting on it. So that's sort of what Roz and I decided would probably be best. So I think in light of that, I'll make a motion to defer this to a later meeting.
I second it.
Okay, so just for clarity, deferring the budget meeting, the special call meeting to, or could you be more clear about that?
Sure. Motion to defer discussion and adoption of the fiscal year 23 budget to a future meeting to be determined in June. Let's just say in June.
Okay, great. So you all have heard the recommendation for deferral. Was there a second?
I second it, but Madam Chair, to make up the motion, Mr. Smith, why can't we just say June 8th?
Well, that's fine. I don't want to tie us down to June the 8th if we can't get a quorum that day for some reason.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And yes, and remember that deferrals should not be debatable. Okay, so the motion to defer has been seconded. Can we get a vote on that?
Mr. Brennan? Mr. Burgess?
Yes.
Ms. Gleason?
Yes.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Representative Howard? Mr. Lawson? Ms. Mood?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Gracio?
Yes.
Mr. Overton Walker?
Okay, that brings us to 6B, on-time performance and progress update. Who wants to take that item? Is Mr. Cooksey or Mr. Hubble there? Or do we have them online?
Yep,
Yes,
trying to get my unmute button found.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. If I can, I'll just share my screen here. Quick update, and it is good news. In your package is also this brief presentation. And why is it not? My apologies. There we go. We implemented a service change May 8th. We anticipated it to be substantial and produce great results. It has. First and foremost, we want to start with, on behalf of the entire team, we want to thank this board for its indulgence and its patience as we worked through the myriad of issues that we found as we peeled back, as I call it, peeled back the layers of the onion to get to the root causes of the lack of on-time performance. And frankly, it was a year's worth of hard work by the entire team, and the credit should go to the local team, both from the Comet and the RATP Dev team. They worked tirelessly to get us to this point. This gives you a kind of a brief summary of those things that we did over the last year that culminated on May 8th. And I'm very pleased to show these results. Prior to May 8th, we were operating at less than 45% on-time performance. And again, incredibly pleased with the results. Yes, the goal is 85%, and we are working towards achieving that, but there is a substantial improvement. We are now hitting, on the average, 70% or better on-time performance, day after day after day. We are now working through resolving several issues. We're keeping a log. We've identified about 29 issues still remaining, far less magnitude than what was out there before. We've already resolved 7 of those 29 issues. We meet weekly to work through those issues, and we are anticipating getting those issues resolved. This is another way to show the improvement. This chart, the top bar shows that first quarter of this year, 85% of your service was operating within a range of 8 minutes early to 10 minutes late. And today, with this May 8th change and all the efforts put forth by both the Comet and RapDev team, that window, that margin of error, so to speak, has narrowed dramatically. Even though we're not hitting 85% currently, 85% of your service is being run within 2 minutes early to 7 minutes late. So that window has narrowed as well, showing that we're a lot closer. Our next steps are, as I already discussed, we've distributed the timetables. We got the timetables in from your printer over the last week or so, and those are out for distribution. The hard copies, the website was updated and available by May 8th. We're still working through some of the technology issues. We've got a couple route profiles we need to tweaking some time points, moving them literally on the other side of the intersection. And we're really learning to now use the data that you have paid for to really solve many of these problems. And Lenny and Joey and his team have set up an incredible feedback loop with the operators. And so now the onus is on our team to act on that feedback and to maintain the enthusiasm that is out there. So we are very pleased with the results. We are going to continue to keep driving towards that 85%, actually 85% plus, because we will not stop it once we achieve 85%. And that's it for my briefing, Madam Chair. Again, good news, and we thank you for this opportunity, and we can answer any questions you may have.
Madam Chair,
Yes, you're recognized.
through you to Mr. Hubbard. Mr. Hubbard, to improve the on-time rate by 25% over a period of, I think, a couple of months, that is really, really great. Do you think over the next couple of months, we can improve it another 25%?
We see over the next 2 months, we see us beginning to get towards that 85% goal that's here. Again, those 29 issues that we've identified, many of them will have a improvement on that OTP, and by fall of this year, working through them, and during the summer, we would expect to see 85% beginning in September, we hope.
Well, the 85% is certainly a great number. I would hope that it would be, we would strive for 90, 95%, and down performing at 45%. I don't know how we could let that happen, but thank you for the information.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Anything else from the board? I don't see anything online. Thank you so much for that. That'll bring us to item 6C, our Lucius and River update. I guess since Mr. Huggins is not here, or I don't see him here, Mr. Harris?
Yes, so everything is still going well according to the report we received last week. We have not had any reported injuries to date. We are now at 9% financially committed, and we are 30% physically committed. I don't know if anyone had the chance to come down Lucius there and take a look at the site, but everything is fully graded, and the project is going well.
Thank you so much. And I'll look to see if there's any, I don't see any hands raised online. Anything from the room?
Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much for that. 6D is the ICAM grant update. Ms. Ransom?
Yes, good morning. I'm sure everyone remembers way back to 2018 when we were awarded this grant. It's called an Innovative Coordinated Access and Mobility Program grant. It was a competitive grant. We competed all across the nation, and we got $249,912 federal dollars. We partnered with Phoenix Mobility Rising for this grant. They provided the matching funds, which we were super happy about. This has been a very successful program. I'm really excited about it. Excited for y'all to hear about how it went. And today I'm going to introduce Valerie Leffler, who is the Executive Director at Phoenix Mobility Rising, as well as Melanie Dalton. And Melanie is in the room with us. And she serves as the lead community development manager with Phoenix. And they're going to give you a brief overview of the project.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you, Michelle. We have just had an incredible blessing and opportunity to provide this service in partnership with the Comet and working together with Michelle and Pam. The main focus of this program was to increase access to care as it relates to providing first and last mile support to the fixed routes, as well as door-to-door service for highly vulnerable populations. The key 3 areas that we were focusing on serving a gap in service was for older adults, veterans, and single-parent households, really understanding, working together with the organizations that provide supportive services in the community to really figure out how can we break down these barriers. In total, we had 13 community partners engaged, including Prisma Hospital, Lexington Medical Center, American Renal, Richland Public Libraries, Power and Changing, Well Partners, just a number of really incredible community organizations that came together around this program to solve this gap. And together, we provided a survey to the writers, and halfway through really tried to understand what gaps in service are we solving, and what impact are we creating in the community. And what we learned by providing the service and talking to the writers is that 85% of the individuals who were using this service wouldn't have been able to get to their health care without it. And so the impact to physical health, mental health, family health, in the community, we've provided a little over 1,000 rides. Our first ride was provided the first week of July last year. And so we're just short of a year and just kind of really getting the ball rolling. But we're really excited. 2 other components that we also provided as part of this project was education on how public transit and paratransit, and then also this access to care service that we launched together, operate in the community. So working with almost 35 social workers, case managers, a lot of folks who do those referral services, providing that interactive training on understanding how the fixed route, the paratransit, as well as the access to care service worked. And so we're really excited about that. And then we also did an infrastructure analysis of public transit stops before and after public these major health facilities, and understanding if we can get somebody to the bus from, out in the suburbs, and they get to the hospital, can they get from that fixed route bus stop to the hospital if they're in a wheelchair, or to the hospital if they're using a cane or crutches. And so that was a really insightful report, and we've shared that with the comment, but just really appreciate the opportunity to work together on this impactful project and touch so many lives. We also have applied for 5310 funding to expand the service and maintain it. We are currently at capacity. We're turning down rides every month because we have simply maxed out the allocation that we have for this project. And so we're really excited for the opportunity to be considered to continue this service.
Thank you so much. I'm looking to see online if there are hands. Okay. Anything in the room?
Dr. Morris has.
The question is to Mrs. Ramsey. You said the grant is for 2.9. Is Phoenix Mobility matching that 2.9, or together we have 2.9?
It was 249,912 in the federal funds, and then the 20% match, actually it was a little bit more than that, came through Phoenix by way of them providing personnel. That was their match.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. And we certainly thank Phoenix Mobility for your assistance there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I'll echo that. That's going to move us to, and I don't see any further comments or questions. And there's no action to take on this. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So that will bring us to item 7, motion period from board members and or brought forth from committee.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you skipped over
Yes.
6E.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. That is something that everybody, I'm sure, is very interested in. Sorry about that. 6E, the Soda Cat Revitalization Plan. Yes, who wants to start there?
Thank you. Thank you. We've worked very hard on this plan as directed by the board to have some kind of plan in place to revitalize our Soda Cat Connector project, and marketing Planning, Flock and Rally, and Midlands Transit Riders Association, as well as board members, Ms. Mood and Mr. Fergus, all contributed to this plan so that it could be the most comprehensive plan that we've ever had for SODACAP to make it successful. The goals were to reposition it as a top transportation method for tourists in the Columbia, South Carolina region and create top of mind awareness for the service. Also to increase ridership among key audiences, including tourists and locals desiring access to the hospitality districts in the Columbia, South Carolina region. To engage the partners to include hotels, restaurant, tourist entities, and others. And also to make SODACAP easy to understand and easy to access. I know you have like an 11-page document with a lot of details in it, but what I would like to do is highlight certain things that we've been doing. I've been meeting with all of the districts and they're really, really excited because they felt that it was a good idea, but they didn't understand how to use it. We also have a pilot with Allen University that's coming in August, where the incoming freshman class and their parents will take a trip as part of orientation, will take a trip on the SODACAP connector so it can know where it goes. Because one of the problems we've identified is that where U of SC students can walk 2 blocks and be in the Vista, Allen and Benedict students only have the options of Kentucky Fried Chicken and Subway if they want to go out to eat. So having access to SODACAP and understanding how to ride it gives them access to the Vista, to Main Street, and to 5 Points, so they can have the same amenities that U of SC students have. So we're really excited about that particular pilot coming up the second week in August. Also, we met with South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association, and we are going to be part of their restaurant week with an event preceding those activities. So on, I think it's October 5th, which is the day before restaurant week starts, we'll be sponsoring a progressive dinner on SODACAP. For those of you who do not know what a progressive dinner is, it is where you take one course and you eat it at one place and the next course is at somewhere different. And you keep on until you visited several locations for each course of your meal. And the premise for that is to have a captive audience riding the entire route, but along the way, they know where they can stop. So we will have a restaurant in Main Street. We'll have a restaurant in the Vista. We'll have a restaurant in the River District in West Columbia and Casey. And we'll also have a restaurant participating in 5 Points. And the restaurants are very excited about that because now they see a purpose to SODACAP as far as people bringing business to their establishments. And the people understand, oh, this is how I ride. And we also will be partnering with the State Museum as a park and ride for SODACAP, so people understand, okay, I can park my car here and just pay $1 and get to where I need to go. So those are some of the main things that we've been doing. And also there's an organization called the Wegoja Foundation who works with Historic Columbia. So not only will people know how to get to the business districts, but the historical districts. And Wegoja actually is part of Green Book, the established Green Book, which highlights African-American establishments for people looking for historical context there. And lastly, one of the highlights of this project is that we're meeting with the Visitors Bureau, Experience Columbia SC, and our proposal is after we have the new route map for SODACAP, which would be more destination specific instead of this is the line that shows where it goes. We are proposing to have SODACAP's route map as the visitor center map, so that people that go into the visitor center, their first thought would be, I'll hop on SODACAP, and that's how I will get to all of these places and really see Columbia. That concludes my report. I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. That's exciting. I would like to do that. Anything from the board?
Madam
Chair. Oh, go ahead.
I saw Ms. Mood pop up first.
Okay. I just wanted to commend the Pam and the rest of the staff and Flock and Rally and the folks who worked on this, because I think they did directly try to address the concerns that the board has. And my comment really is that the service committee will of course be monitoring the ridership to see what kind of impact this has on the efficiency of the route and the participation in it, in those routes.
Thank you. And Ms. Vanna Reed, I would love if you could share when those things are happening with the board, and if board members would be invited to come, because I think that would be great for us to show our support and also be participants and be able to be really good ambassadors for this. I see Mr. Harris.
Yes, I just wanted to add to everything that Pam provided in that great report, is that just for the sake of service monitoring, we are in the process of trying to include just the local universities as a starting point in some of the comments planning process. We have a service planning meeting every month. We want to see if we can get them involved to provide feedback on how we can modify the service to be more conducive to what their students are looking for, especially because they are in the downtown area. So we are taking a comprehensive look at everything, and we're hoping to see positive results.
Oh, can I add one more thing to what Mr. Harris just said, Madam Chair?
Sure. Yes, please do.
When we talk about the Allen University pilot, one of the things we're also doing is not just taking the parents and students on a ride, but we'll stop at designated places along the way to different restaurants. And the restaurants will give them little samples and give them coupons for discounts on their meal.
Oh, great. Yes, that's a great way to start off the year. I see Mr. Green.
Thank you,
Mr. Green,
Madam
you have
Chairman.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, it took me a second to get off mute. Mrs. Reed, did you say that it was that you were going to have stops in Casey? And I didn't hear if you said West Columbia as well,
Yes.
but I think I heard you say Casey, right?
Yes, we're over in the River District as well on that route.
Okay, I thought you were. I was just making sure. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you. That's all I see from the board on this one. Is there any action that needs to be taken to kind of accept this plan, or can we just accept it as the plan?
If it helps to have a record of the board's endorsement, I would make a motion that we approve the implementation of the plan as described.
Thank you. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded to accept the, yes, and now there's a, is there a question in the room?
Yes.
Okay, yes, please go ahead.
Through you to Ms. Mood. It's my understanding that the service committee should approve this and recommend it to the board. Has the service committee done that?
We've been privileged to the information in the plan, but we've not taken a formal action as a committee except to direct the staff to develop the plan. So as we were instructed to do by the board.
Okay.
You waiting for me to respond?
As the service committee chairman, I don't have any problem with going straight to full board approval.
Okay.
Because the service committee's been aware of the contents over the whole time.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for the discussion. Mr. Smith, I see your hand up.
A question for staff or whoever can best answer it, I guess. Just to confirm that the plan is sort of within the existing budget parameters for the soda cap. Is that correct? I see Eric nodding yes. Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Through you, Mrs. Chair, to Mr. Smith. I don't remember the finance committee discussing this, a budget for this. Do you?
No, it's part of the standing, budget for, I mean, the soda cap already exists. So it's budgeted, but we didn't, what I was asking is, did it have any, are there any expenses that the plan creates that aren't already budgeted for? And if I understand staff to be saying that, no, this is within the existing budgeted parameters.
This project,
As a
This,
matter of fact, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
As a
I was
matter
just
of-
going to say that this project is cost neutral. So we were just taking the resources that we had and trying to figure out a way to better improve the service.
Exactly. And we'll actually be bringing revenue in as far as riders.
Yeah, right.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Can we vote on that motion?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Brennan? Mr. Burgess?
Yes.
Ms. Gleason?
Yes.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Representative Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson? Ms. Moon?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Tracio?
Yes,
Councilman Walker?
Yes.
The motion carries.
thank you. Now, yes, now we are moving to item 7. Sorry, I was jumped right to it earlier. The motion periods from board members and or those brought forth from committee. And 7A, we have the process for motions to and from the board. Ms. Baker, did you want to speak to that?
I think, well, we covered it in the, I don't know that I have anything different to add other than what we discussed at the last meeting, unless there's another specific question about that.
Okay, great. So we'll just go to, are there any motions from the board members?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I don't have a motion, but I spoke with Attorney Baker some time ago about the interpretation of the RAPDAD contract, and I'm still waiting for a response. That was on the DBEs. Is it required that RATP Dev and meet their goal during the fiscal year or during the contractual year?
Yes, Dr. Morris, and I think I answered that question, that the goal is cumulative. So it's over the average of the contract. It's not during the fiscal year. If Dr. Prince is there in the room, she may be able to add more clarity to that.
And the reason, Madam Chair, I'm bringing this up because with the previous contract that we had some difficulty, and we thought that in this new contract, we had changed the language to say fiscal year. But I hear Attorney Baker saying that that is not the case.
okay. Can we move this discussion to 8D when Dr. Prince gives her
Certainly,
report, and we could maybe talk about this specific item at that time?
certainly.
Okay, thank you. Any new motions from the board or from a committee? All right, I don't see anything online. Anything in the room? I'm hearing none. All right, so let's move to 8, our progress reports. These are informational only. The chair does not have a report, so that's 8A. 8B, the committee chair's update. 8BA is the service committee update. Ms. Mood, do you have an update from the service committee?
We did not have a quorum at our meeting this month, and so we took no formal business action. And so therefore, we don't have a recommendation today from the service committee on the proposed fare-free period that was proposed, for us to discuss. We've not taken any action on that. I will tell you that for those of us who were present when we were hoping that we would get to a quorum, we did a lot of rejoicing about that on-time performance data.
Great. Yes, that's something to celebrate. Let's move to 8BB, our finance committee update. Mr. Smith?
Madam Chair, we met at our regularly scheduled time and discussed our normal kind of standing update on the financial performance of the current fiscal year. And then we We talked about DBE as well, some of the stuff that Dr. Morris has alluded to, but I will defer discussion of that to Dr. Prince's report. And then also this issue of the fiscal 23 budget. We vetted that thoroughly and had intended to bring that forward today, but obviously it didn't make it into the packet. And so, like I said earlier, I think it's best that we get that out to you and allow the board members to have some time to look at it. The good news is that staff was very proactive with the budget and got it to the finance committee early, so we've got time to address that at a later meeting. Otherwise, took no action at our finance committee meeting.
All right, thank you for that. That brings us to 8C. 8CA is our, those are the executive staff updates. 8CA is the interim chief executive officer. I don't think Mr. Huggins is here. Does anybody want to speak on behalf of, for that update?
Madam Chair, I will say he just texted me and his grandson has arrived.
Well, congratulations. That is the happiest kind of emergency. Yes, we can, hopefully the board can circulate congratulations after our meeting. And maybe we'll get be lucky enough to get a baby picture. Well, that's great. So that'll bring us to 8CB, our chief operating officer, Mr. DeChamps. I don't think, you could give us any better news than a grandbaby.
Let's see.
I agree. Okay, but just a couple things I'll go ahead and mention. You can find my report on page 64. And I think one thing that I'm always proud of is our staff and how they always step up and look, and we challenge them with ways to how they can improve themselves and their skills. And just two things I'll go ahead and mention. We did have 2 staff members that attended Midlands Tech 2022 Professional Administrative Day that they have every year. So we had Patricia Geddes, Customer Experience, that attended that, along with Amherst Ray Pope in our finance department. They attended that this past year. So appreciate them doing that. And on the second point I want to mention is we had a staff member that is completed the Community Transportation Association of America conference, where she met their qualifications to become, and now she is, a certified community transit manager. And that is Miss Rosalind Andrews. So congratulations, Rosalind. And besides the baby, that concludes my report.
Yeah, well, we're just circulating congratulations. Can we move to item 8CC, our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Andrews?
Hello again. I don't think I can top a grandbaby, not by a grandchild or having one myself. And has already tooted a horn for me. So my report is on page 67. So if you guys need any additional information or have any questions, I'm here to answer. If not, that is the end of my report.
Okay, thank you so much and well done. That'll move us to 8CD, our Civil Rights Officer, Dr. Prince.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The regulatory compliance and DBE report are found on pages 68 through 74 of the board packet. And I won't go over all the items that are listed there, but just want to highlight that we are planning a DBE public participation meeting on June 16th from 12 p.m. until 1:30 p.m. And the reason why we're having this meeting primarily is that in the federal regulation, it states that whenever we have to create our new DBE goal on the federal side, we have to have a public participation meeting to get input from the community in terms of any assistance they could have in terms of our DBE goal methodology. We are planning to utilize a DBE firm to assist us in facilitating the meeting. We have been working with PJ Nobles and Associates, which is a DBE firm, to serve as a facilitator. And the meeting will be held at the Comet, and we're also going to make it available for individuals to dial in to participate in the meeting. Some of the things on the agenda will be to give an overview of the Comet, also to talk about upcoming contracting opportunities. So that will be the Comet sharing information as well as RATP Dale. And we are also with Central Midlands CART will also like to partner with us on this initiative, since their DBE goal is also due around the same time. And they will talk about upcoming contracting opportunities. And we have also asked SCDOT to talk about certification, because there may be several firms in attendance that are currently not certified who would like to become certified. So we thought that would be good information to share with them. And the goal will expire on September 30th. That's the federal their fiscal year starts October 1st and it goes to September 30th. But we have to have everything into them by August 1st. So we kind of like giving enough opportunity so we can develop the goal and provide it to the board for approval in July of this year. And the other part of my report is on pages 71 through 74, and it deals with the, give you a snapshot of where we are when it comes to DBE goal. As of March 31st, the Comet had paid approximately $31 million to vendors with DBE goals in their contracts. And this, and of this amount, approximately 7.9% were paid to DBE firms. This calculates to approximately 25.6%. Also in the report, information relevant to RATP DAP and their payments to DBEs. And I think this is one of the areas that we talked about earlier where you want to talk about the cumulative goal. But as of March 31st, the RATP DAP had achieved approximately 22.8% of their goal of 20.06%. And this is on a cumulative basis. And when we look at it on a fiscal year, we just want to look at from the beginning of this fiscal year to the to where we are now, or to the end of March, is approximately 17.8%. And in the past, I always rounded this also, it was always 18%. In the contract, when the firm bid on the contract and they had to include their DBE goal, they bid it on the project. So it was just, it was based on what we looked at, and they only gave one goal, and we only talked about it from a bid on the project as a whole. So what has happened, we have basically extended the contract for several years, but when the bid was done, when they submitted their bid, it was just based on the project. What was their goal on the project, and the project just expanded to several years. So I have been tracking the goal based on a cumulative perspective. And that's basically how I've been reading it from looking at the contract.
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I understand clearly what Dr. Prince shared with us, but I think we made a big mistake. And next time around, hopefully we'll be cognizant of the fact that goals should be achieved fiscally as opposed to cumulative. Because if we are talking about liquidated damages and we give a contract to a company and they do not reach their goal, we cannot apply liquidated damages until they leave. So that's a mistake we made, and I hope in the future we will not make a mistake like that again.
I don't think we made that.
Thank you for making that point. Anything else from the body on this item?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can the attorneys provide us that copy sheet of the contract? Because Dr. Morris and I were two of the parties that worked on that contract. So I would like to see that contract, to see if that.
Yes,
Can we
I'll
get
provide that. Yes, I'll provide that section of the contract to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
let me say this. I don't have anything against RATP-Dev. I think they're doing a great job, but I just want them to adhere to what's in the contract. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Ms. Herbert has a comment.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Herbert, please.
With respect to the DBE goals, I just wanted to comment that typically the goal is for however how long the project is. So sometimes you may have a project that lasts 3 months, or it may last 50 years, you don't know, but that goal is for the endurance of the project. And a lot of times we have work that ebbs and flows. So you may not need to use particular people during a certain amount of time of the year. So it may be difficult to meet that goal if you budgeted this 20, over the whole project. So I think that it probably is done right. I haven't looked at it, but it's typically you looking at the entire contract, and when you close it out, you're gonna look and see if those percentages were met. Because, and even y'all know, we can plan one way that it's gonna fall out this way, and then it never works out the way that we planned as far as spending the money. So I'm just saying that off the top of what I'm hearing, I don't have any true concerns that something was done wrong. But I think the ultimate goal is going to be at the end of the contract.
And let me say this, I appreciate that, and I think you are right, and I agree with it. But my only concern was at the end of the contract, the contractor could walk away not meeting the goal.
Well, I think that's why she monitors it every year, or however.
Yes, she monitored it, but it's not being achieved.
Okay. And I want to share that in terms of where we are to date, we're at 22.8%. So the goal was 20.06%. So from a cumulative perspective, we are achieving the goal. Now, we have been tracking it on a monthly basis, and with us looking at that information, that's when we can see if there needs to be some adjustments or if there's some concern. And that's when we go back, and currently what we have done, we have talked to RATP-Dev to make sure that we stay on track by the end of the contract period ending. So they have worked with some of the firms that are currently listed to work with, and as of May 1st, they extended or entered into an agreement to give more work to TCS, Transport Care Services, to get their goal up, and also another one of the firms that provide office supply services. So they are interacting with firms where if the goal is not where it should be in terms of where we are today. So we are constantly talking to them and meeting with them. Now we started meeting with them on a monthly basis.
Thank you, Dr. Prince. My concern is that, as of this point, RATP-Dev is achieving 17.8%. And that's almost two fiscal years. Another 3 fiscal years, if they keep going down, nothing we can do. We could attempt liquidated damage, but that would be after the fact.
And the 17.8% represents from the beginning of this fiscal year, which started July 1st. So I want to show what it looked like during this current fiscal year.
Yes.
But I also share with you what it is cumulatively.
Okay.
Since the start of the contract.
Madam Chair, Dr. Prince, the reason this keep coming up, usually when a contractor gives you a DBE goal, it's something they can make and exceed with the eyes closed. So you almost don't come into a thing where they're going below the DBE goal. So with us hitting that now, that's kind of alarming, because usually that goal, a transport RP or RepDev made some adjustments with contractors. Now, what should have alarmed us that the DBE percentage went down with the same amount of DBE contractors. So that should have alarmed us to look at what happened in there. See, when they readjusted what the change, now it's coming back up. See, so, I don't know. But it's just odd that that would be a major concern of ours with that when the defense of RATF, I think they gave us a higher percentage that they could make, and our illustrious leader kind of readjusted that down. But that's neither here nor thing, but that's something we need to really stay on top of.
We'll continue to monitor and as I stated earlier, meeting with RATP on a monthly basis to talk about the DBE goal.
And I also like to say, I think they're doing a very good job. So it's nothing to take from, you know, just the piece at the facility. It's a good thing.
Thank you for that. We took a little extra time on that, but I know it was an important discussion for everyone. And just also acknowledging that we have the benefit of new board members who will benefit from seeing the contract. Let's go ahead and move on to 8CE, our Public Information Officer, Ms. Bino Reed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My report is found on pages 75 through 77. The only thing I would like to bring out is the Lower Richland Community Town Hall listening session with DISA that was planned for May 23rd has been postponed to June 20th due to inclement weather in that area. We're in Columbia. And the other thing I would like to bring out is that the Comet and Flocken Rally won a Mercury Award for the Don't Miss Your Shot campaign. That is our vaccination and testing campaign for COVID-19. And the last thing is, and I think he's still on the line, yes. Our very own Blake Gibbons, one of our interns, will be leaving us in a couple of weeks to go to, is it Michigan, Blake? I'd like for you to talk about that.
Yeah, Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I was one of 22 students selected nationwide for this very competitive program to study public policy, international affairs, as well as urban development, urban policies at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor this summer.
Yes, and he will be coming back. We made him guarantee that. And that concludes my report.
Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. Yes?
I can't help but keep heaping praise on Ms. Reed for the comment at the transit center doing the testing and the shots. But I don't think we've given ourselves enough publicity on it, but it's outstanding.
I'll echo that.
You know, and I just got a shot and they tried to kill me.
Listen, I'm putting off another one because I know I'm going to be in bed most of the rest of the next day. You got to plan for these. So let's go ahead and just move on to 8F. Do we have any board motions to review?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. So that brings us to item 9, which is executive session. So this will be a discussion of matters relating to the proposed location expansion or provision of services, encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the body. Ms. Baker will speak to that when, yes, you want to speak now?
Madam Chair, yes. So Mr. Huggins is pretty much essential to this discussion, and I have not been able to get the latest updates from him. We were not able to meet this week, I think due to him being under the weather. So if possible, I would either defer this until we do the special call meeting to go over the budget, and we could add this as an agenda item at that meeting, or certainly schedule another meeting once I've had a chance to get an update from Mr. Huggins.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I think we can schedule that when we set the agenda for the next meeting. I don't think we need a motion to defer or anything because this is not an action item.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item 10, adjournment. Is there a motion? Mhm.
I second it.
All right. Thank you all. We want to call the roll, or we'll just do it by acclamation. Everyone in favor? Aye. Okay, great, everybody. Thank you all for a really great meeting, and we'll see you soon.